Hello, happy Saturday. How are you today? This is Jillibling. I have a project to share with you using the new stamp set, Hand Penned. And it has dies that go with this, so you could get it as a bundle. Also, some of the samples will use Tasteful Touches. I really like this flower and these pieces. They're great for doing like collage style cards. And then also the words on this are really nice. Very Versailles. Somebody help me with pronouncing that correctly. I like the thinking of you. I like everything in this set, but it really doesn't go with today's card. I could probably make it, but just using it more for the words, always thinking of you. And using 2 embossing folders. I'll show you the samples here in just a minute. Parisian Flourish and the next one on page 155, Pretty Flowers. This is a new embossing folder, and it doesn't require the specialty plate, the gray plate, but it really leaves quite an impression. I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so here's the samples. Isn't that pretty? So happy, so cheerful. I'm so happy it's summer. I think I want to do another one like this, maybe color it a little bit different, but I really like how this one turned out. I don't know about all that coloring on the inside. I haven't done the coloring on the inside, so probably more like this one. And then this is using the other stamp set, Tasteful Touches. And I hand cut, fussy cut all that. And this card I saw on Pinterest, Catherine Proctor. She is the designer of this project, and I copied it. Catherine, thank you for sharing. But isn't that nice? I'm not sure what she did on the inside, but this is what her outside looks somewhat like this. And then same thing, but in pink. Very pretty. Okay, so I'll set these off to the side, and we'll do something like that using some purple tones. So can you see that? Yeah. They're all pretty. Okay. So as this one uses this cord, metallic cord, it comes in a 2-pack with silver and gold, and I'll be using the gold today. And a little white bow for right here on the flower stem. Since I have it out and I'm thinking of it, I'll do the bow now. I'll appreciate that later. Maybe tiny little bow. So cute. You notice I keep using this crinkled white seam ribbon. I like how easy it is to work with it. Especially when you're doing tiny little things. Okay. My new snips. I didn't know that my old ones were bad. But now that I have my new ones, very nice. Okay, so that bow is done. So let's see, what else do we have here? Like I mentioned, there are dies. So let's start by stamping the flower. I'm going to stamp that in Memento ink. And I only have huge blocks, but that's okay. Pretty? Okay. Now I'm going to use the die, cut this out, and then I'm going to color it. Isn't that pretty? I love Granny Apple Green. I love bright colors. Okay, let's get a little bit of cardness going on. Here is cardness. It's kind of like, oh goodness. Here's base paper, and this is sand. Okay, and this paper, we're going to use the embossing folder, the Pretty Flowers embossing folder. Here it is. Can you see all the texture on there? There, now you can see it. Isn't that incredible? Okay, so that can just get stuck down. If I was wrapping a ribbon around it, of course I would do that before I put adhesive on it. Okay, there's a top piece. This is for words. This is for this circle here. And a little bit larger circle. That could go underneath here. This is for the inside, so I'll just tuck that inside for right now. Then the flower goes on here. So I think the next step is the words. So I want to do the words, thank you. And you know, I could have had this done in advance. That would have made it much easier. As a matter of fact, I have one over here that is done, the thanks. But using the punch, I have a few tips on using the punch, so I thought that we could do it together, just so that you'll have success when you use the punch. So I'm going to do the words in spruce, which matches the paper. Here's the word thanks. And I'm purposely doing it a little bit low on the paper because this paper is 1 inch and I'm going to have to cut it to 3/4 of an inch. So if I put it right in the middle, that means I would have to be cutting both sides of it. This way I have to cut the top only. Okay, so I will take that one, I'll save for later. And this one, I have a paper cutter right here underneath. I'm going to cut off 1/4 of an inch and make this paper 3/4 of an inch. And if the image on here happened to be a little bit bigger, you don't have to do it exactly 3/4 of an inch. There's still a way to make it work. For instance, Feel Better Friend is not the 3/4 of an inch. So it's more like 7/8, but with the punch you could still make it work. Okay, see how that's a little bit smaller? Okay, so now for the punch. I know I'm going to have a little bit of a problem here, but I'll show you what the problem is. So you'll know how to fix it too. So this is going to slide and go right into here. This is what the problem is. My fingers don't put it all the way through there. So to fix that, and we're going to do this quite a few times, take your adhesive, put a little bit in the center, put it in the middle of another paper that's a bit longer. Now this acts as a handle. Slide it in through here till it hits the back of the punch. Okay, so that's in there, flush, that's good. This is hitting the back of the punch. If you use any of these punches, look at where the paper comes up. I want it to be center in this punch, and right now I could see it's a little bit off to this side. So with my scissors, I push it to where I want it to be. So now this amount equals that amount. And punch it. Like I said, we're going to do this just a few times in case you didn't get that. Okay, so now that's just fine. So now I'm going to take this, flip it over, do the same thing, use this spruce paper as my handle, have just a bit of it hanging over, paper into the punch until the white hits the back wall. And now, let me see, I'll put this up close. There you go, now you can see it. I can't, hold on. Okay, so when I look at this, see how this side is just a little bit beyond this bump? Okay, there to me, that looks straight. And it doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's kind of straight. Okay, so now see the white, how it's equal on both sides? So this piece here is done. The thanks is done. I'm going to do the same with the green, and it's fine right now because the paper's long enough. I should have checked that. I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again just because I see that this side is rounded and this side is square on this last lower bump. Okay, so I'm going to put that in. I'm going to flip it over. Okay, there it is. And I'm fine if it becomes, what is that, 1/8 of an inch shorter? That's fine. For this project, that's just fine. Okay, so now my thanks is going to go on here. And when you're positioning these, the next step is going to be with your scissors to trim it. And keep in mind how much the punch is going to punch off, about 1/8 of an inch. So you'll want to go, like that's where I want it to end up, so I'll go about 1/8 of an inch bigger. But if you do it a little bit too short or a little bit too long, this punch is so forgiving. And I cut that crooked, but that's okay. Can you see a little bit of an angle? But that's okay. So let me put adhesive on here. I want to punch this side, get those lined up. That's my handle. I'm going to put it in here, and because it's crooked, I know I'm going to have to adjust. Oop, it didn't go through yet. There it goes. Okay, so because this is crooked, which is fine, I just want to make sure when I'm looking through here, this is short, that's a little bit wide. So just push it over, and that looks equal. Okay, so this should be good. And if I put it on here, even if I wanted it really close like that, and I ended up with it too big, it still looks really nice with that much room around it. When you look at this one, I got it a little bit closer, but that's fine. This one, oh, I used the other end. So you have your choice of a flat end. Can you see that? You can see it. Or else kind of rounded. This one's a little bit more fancy ornate. So on this one, I did the rounded end. Pretty. These, a bit narrow paper, and I did the square end. Okay, so enough with that punch. And there's a few of these label punches in the catalog. So this is our new one. So I'll put adhesive on the back of this, get it stuck together. And you know, at first I was putting it on the card without the green around it, and to me it got lost. I really like the border of the spruce. Okay, so one of these is definitely a little bit bigger than the other. They both look really good though. Later, all these pieces. Okay, so we're going to do it something like this one. This is done. Where's that cute little bow? I'll put that on the the flower now before it gets lost. I'm going to fold my glue dot in half. I think the bow should go right there. Okay. So I will attach this designer paper, and you could use any paper you like, whatever you have on hand, whatever colors you like. On some of those samples I used, there was this fancy acetate from Work of Art bundle, and I had only one sheet. Each pack comes with one sheet. This right here, so that's what I used on that, was acetate. So whatever you have is fine. Okay, oh, I kind of like it off to the side. Oh, that's artsy, look at that. Okay, let's do this one like that. Who knew? That's pretty. Okay, so to do this swirl of cord, let me first attach these pieces. I think the flower wants dimensionals. Okay, that's pretty. So to attach the cord, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put adhesive all over this spruce, these background pieces, and this will hold the cord for now. Okay, that was a little excessive. So here's the cord. I don't know if I could get this pin back into, I did. Okay, good. So to do the cord, I hold on to it and then wrap around 2 bits. See how my pinky is out? That's because I want a larger loop. If I wanted just a little bit, my pinky would be in. Okay, so here's the cord. Can you see how big it is? And I'm going to put these 2 ends kind of close together. And then once you have it, just do a figure 8. And stick it on the back of your card. Wherever it goes is just fine. Okay, so you could see that that was not specific or anything. A little bit is showing, a more bit is showing, but I don't want it to be that symmetrical. So I'm going to take some of these, maybe I'll find the end, maybe. Ooh, that tape is really sticky, which is good. Okay, so here's one of the ends, and by moving that, I'm going to make this part bigger. Maybe coming up here a little bit. I just want to make it so it's not symmetrical. And then I'll take this other piece. Come on now. Come on over here. And I'll put it there. That might be too big for the card front, too wide. Oh, but it looks good. Okay, maybe just a little bit shorter. Perfect. Okay, do I have enough stickum on here? That adhesive is really sticky. If my adhesive wasn't quite so sticky, I might put dimensionals on here, maybe cover up the ends, or if you have any of the tear-in tape, maybe put some of that on. but as sticky as it is and how sticky it keeps sticking to me, I think it's just fine. Okay, so that could go here. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I like it. Little bow on there, and then rhinestones. These are champagne rhinestones. I'm going to take a big one and put it in the center of this little flower. Just a little bit of bling. Okay, so for the inside, I'm going to keep those colors in mind. On the inside, oh, I like those one words. These here. The good things in life are better with you. So I'll do that in spruce. And if ever you keep stamping crooked, for instance, I kept on lining up this stamp, but if you see the rubber, it's narrow here and it gets wider and wider and wider, which explains why it kept being crooked. So whenever that happens, I take my stamp, set it here, and I set down the stamp on the block so that the words are straight with the edge of the block. And that usually fixes me trying to get it straight. Nice. Okay, and where's this one has a lot of coloring. I don't want to put you through that. How about this flower in the corner? Where's that big thing? Here it is. If you have the right size block, it's much easier. Pretty. You know, on the inside of some of these other ones, let me find them. I use this fancy stamp in saffron. This one right here. I want to do a little bit of that right down here in saffron. And to keep it light, I'm going to stamp off. Then, how much should I do? Just a little bit of fancy. Obviously, I didn't get them lined up, but that's okay. The pretty flower will grab everyone's attention. Okay, so to color it, where is my sample? So this, believe it or not, I have 4 different purples in here. I have Heather, Heather, Freesia, 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 Heather. So I'm going to do the dark areas, Heather dark. Do a second layer of color. Sometimes I have to look at this to see, what is that? What part of the flower is it? Okay, so that is Heather Dark, Heather Light, Okay, and then Freesia Dark. You know, these colors are funny because when I'm looking at this purple looks really yellow, more of a yellow versus the heather. But once it dries, it'll dry just a little bit more blue, closer to heather. Okay, and then finally, Freesia Light. No matter what, it looks good. Unless you color out of the lines, which I just did. I'm trying to go fast. Okay, there is my purple flower. So for this one, on the front, I did dark raspberry. You know, either raspberry or bliss, one of them went away. But raspberry and bliss, every time I pulled them out to use them, to me, both the colors look the same. So I'm okay with that color going away. And then raspberry light. And I don't know if that was Freesia Light or Dark. I'm going to try Freesia Dark. And these colors will look really different, but when they dry, they're a little bit more similar. Okay, and then the leaves are, let's see, Spruce Light, just because this is spruce paper. And then the rest of it is going to be Granny Apple Light and Dark. Okay, Granny Apple. You know what? That doesn't look quite. I think it was Spruce Dark. I'll go back over. I'll fix it. But it's mostly Granny Apple, these leaves, with just a hint. Just the low lights are going to be spruce. It's a good thing about blends. They say one color can cover another, even if it's light or dark. Okay, and now to fix my whoops, I'm going to use Spruce Dark just to put a little more shadow in here. Yeah, that's better. Spruce Dark. Okay, and then for the flower center, any yellow you have, I'm going to use, I have a little bit of mango. Mango was discontinued, but I'll use it until it runs out. Okay, it is done. So all the products used, I'll put them on my blog, which is jillibling.com, along with the paper cut sizes and pictures of the inside and outside. Just if you want to recreate it, it's easier than forwarding and stopping the video. So here it is. I hear Tony coming home. I know he's going to be loud. Beautiful, isn't it? Well, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. Until next time, bye.